welcome to Cleveland Classic Cinema. Our offering this time around is 1940's The Devil Bat, directed by Gene Yarbrough. Producers Releasing Corporation made The Devil Bat. PRC began business in 1939 as Producers Distributing Corporation, changing hands and executives several times before it settled into production as PRC in 1940. The studio made westerns like the Texas Rangers, the Frontier Marshals, and the Billy the Kid series, film noir classics like Detour, and of course horror movies. Since PRC was one of the Poverty Row studios, their stars were either actors that were considered past their prime, such as Bela Lugosi and George Zucco, or actors that were considered second-tier stars, like J. Carrol Naish or Glenn Strange. Just because Hollywood considered these actors to be washed up didn't mean they were, however. Although working at PRC was considered a big step down from the majors, it was still work, and if the actor got lucky, he or she could end up in what would later be considered to be a classic movie. Of course, there's no way anyone working on a film knows they're making a classic. As hard as it may be to imagine today, Casablanca was considered by the people working on it to be just another studio release. For the most part, however, PRC put out mostly low-budget B-grade movies like the one you're about to see. The odd thing about The Devil Bat is the fact that in movies like this, the mad scientist is sometimes, not always but sometimes, a semi-sympathetic character who's been screwed by either the government he used to work for or his business partners, and so takes revenge in some bizarre way connected to the work he was doing for his enemies. In this movie, Lugosi, who of course plays the mad scientist, is angry because, even though he was advised not to, he sold his rights to a perfume he invented to the guys manufacturing it, and they became rich. It's not like they rub it in his face or anything either. They actually seem sorry that the whole thing played out like this and seem like really nice guys. That last part scratches credulity, but the fact is that Lugosi is the most unsympathetic character in the film. That really doesn't mean anything, but I just thought I'd point it out. Before I continue, let's take a look at one of the actors in this film, Dave O'Brien. Odds are you won't even know who I'm talking about unless you're a bad movie fan, but this guy had a surprisingly prolific career that many people know nothing about. If you're a fan of the film Reefer Madness, you'll recognize Dave the second he steps on screen. His performance as Ralph Wiley is one of the more unforgettable elements of that movie. And although he's best known for that role, he was not only an actor, but a dancer, stuntman, writer, composer, and director. He was born on May 31st, 1912 in Big Springs, Texas. As an actor, dancer, and stuntman, he appeared in 191 films, starting with a bit part in 1930's The Dawn Patrol and ending with 1956's The Desperados Are in Town. Under the pseudonym Dave Barclay, he directed 43 movies and wrote 31, in addition to composing songs and lyrics for 5 other films. He was married to his co-star in Reefer Madness, Dorothy Short, who played Mary Lane. They had 2 children and were divorced in the early 50s. O'Brien won an Emmy for his writing on The Red Skelton Show. If you watch Turner Classic Movies, you may have seen him in the Pete Smith shorts that appear as filler between films. A lover of sailing, he died of a heart attack on November 8, 1969, during a yachting race off the island of Catalina. Arthur Q. Bryan, who appears in this movie as newspaper editor Joe McGinney, worked mostly in radio and films as a narrator or voice talent. He played the role of Doc Gamble on the Fibber McGee and Molly show beginning in 1943 and was the voice of Elmer Fudd in countless Warner Brothers cartoons. An interesting bit of trivia here. Although Elmer Fudd appears in the Daffy Duck cartoon The Scarlet Pumpernickel, the voice is supplied by Mel Blanc. Blanc was an amazing talent, but he was unable to duplicate Bryan's unique vocal patterns, and so, after that cartoon, the character was quietly retired. So right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy The Devil Bat, right here on Cleveland Classic Cinema.